everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our Paws On Animation podcast.
Today we're covering one of the newer animes of 2023, High Card.
And Rascal's been waiting for this for so long.
Yes.
This anime comes from the same creators of the Netflix anime series Kakegurui, only this time it's fast-paced, action-filled show about a secret group that collects playing cards that hold incredible powers.
Yes, and before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification buttons on future podcasts and all the Paws videos.
Yes, and I learned this is actually a multimedia franchise in Japan, created by Homura Kawamoto, Hikaru Muno, and TMS Entertainment. It has a manga series, a novel series, drama CDs, and an anime TV series by Studio Hibari, which aired from January to March 2023.
Okay. They covered every format.
The project's theme is poker.
Yes, obviously, with the cards,
So, I can't forget how much you were tweeting, or retweeting, I should say, posts that were made about this anime on Twitter. It's like your feed was filled with it every day.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I got to know the characters and whom they were and what they looked like. And a lot of things before it came on because of your passion, like the Japanese, your passion for waiting
the
for
earthly
this
passion.
anime.
I haven't said that in a while. The earthly passion.
It's your new earthly passion.
So yes, this was actually announced in late 2022, and all I had seen at the time is they had a poster announcement from TMS about a new show or project coming from the creators of Kakegurui. Now, we have seen a little bit of Kakegurui, but we dropped out. It was not really a show for us, so we are familiar with what they make. We just did not watch that show in its entirety. However, with this one, just hearing the synopsis that the playing cards have superpowers, whoever owns them, I thought that was just a really brilliant idea. Not even MHA has that idea. So I immediately loved the concept and I wanted to see it when it came out.
Maybe Horiko should do a shout out to it like he has to other anime.
Well,
a card carrying villain,
right?
Or a card carrying hero.
Right, probably will. They already got high calorie power on one of their spin-off manga, so why not?
So I have to say, I really enjoyed the first episode and the second episode. But as it went along, it got much more interesting. It had twists and turns you couldn't figure out. And the characters are definitely very, very interesting. You know, when you look at them in the pictures and things, I think basically they were meant to look good so everyone will pay attention to them. But when you watch the anime, you see they got depth, and there's development, and there's backstories, and there's a lot more going on than hotness.
Right. And then, and right now, the series, or should I say first season, has 12 episodes. And it's aired, like, literally the beginning of the new year in January, like maybe the first few weeks of 2023. It aired out the gate and it aired on a Monday. People thought it was kind of odd because all the anime comes on Saturday. Toonami and MHA and Buddy Daddies and everything came on Saturday. They're like, why would you pick Monday? Well, they didn't want to compete with all the other high-ranking animes, so they picked a day no other anime would come on, so that way you would just go straight to High Card. Which actually, at first we didn't understand, but actually is pretty brilliant because you're not competing to see which show are you going to watch first. You just got that one.
Yeah, we just went, okay, it's Monday, High Card. It's time for High Card.
Yes.
It's Monday. So Monday became High Card Monday.
Right.
Right.
And after it came on, we were a little bit surprised at how much action there was the very first episode. And it does get a little bit graphic in the beginning, but they do slow it down as it goes on. They start having things happen off screen, so it's not as graphic, but it does kind of come out of nowhere when you watch the first episode.
Well, the first episode of High Card matches the first episode of Buddy Daddies. It was the same.
Right.
It was like, what in the heck is going on?
Right.
But as you said, after that you got more storyline and other things going on besides
how they look.
the stuff happening on the
like,
screen.
oh my
no,
god.
I mean the action.
Oh, that,
taking
yeah.
People people out and people
They're like,
limbs,
oh gosh.
like, oh my gosh, this character's gonna be gone the first episode.
Like, no, okay. And then the part of the reason why, and you actually find out later as you watch, this was heavily inspired by the Kingsman movies and comics, because a lot of people keep saying it's got a Kingsman vibe, and we've seen the first two theatrical movies, and I could definitely tell, because we did see them, but it had been a while, but there were certain things they were saying and doing. It's like, okay, this is kind of like Kingsman, especially all the high violence. And then sure enough, they get to a certain episode where they have tailor suits made to them, and they call it Wizard's Men. So yes, the whole anime is a half homage to Kingsman. It's like Japan, Kingsman for Japan.
And they also mentioned in Anime in New York City in 2022 that everything was inspired by Kingsman. Not only, as you were saying, the things that happen, but also the names of some of the areas, and it's placed in a fictional setting outside of Japan, because they were hoping to appeal to a wide audience.
Right.
Actually, a kingdom. It's considered a kingdom.
Right. It's a fictional land, right. And it's all these different places combined, but you can tell they're mostly was supposed to be London, which is supposed to be where Kingsman is, so it makes sense.
But also, it says that a lot of the locations, if you look at the street signs, are referred to things that happen in poker.
Right.
Poker hands and things. I was like, oh.
Right. It's like little bitty shout outs. And then as you go along in the anime, if you aren't keeping up on Twitter with things that came out every once in a while on the progress and the release date and the characters, you're introduced to each character, and you start off with Finn Oldman, who's the main lead and one that finds out about High Card. And then it goes to...
Well, talk a little bit about Finn.
Okay.
Just don't run over him.
Right. No, they tried though. So for Finn, they have the... guess what? He's an orphan.
It's the Two of Spades.
Right. He has the Two of Spades cards, but he doesn't know it has powers until it gets to the end of the first episode. And what he wants to do is get enough money from a job that'll help keep the orphanage that he grew up in open, because there's still kids there that need homes. One guy somehow is running the whole place by himself. I don't know how he does, and that place is so big. And his goal is to find a job that'll earn enough money where he can keep it open. They're not struggling.
Because he was a pickpocket, and that wasn't earning.
Right? It's like, you only get so much out of that. And so then when that doesn't work, and pawning or selling wasn't working, he's going to try to win a jackpot lottery at a casino.
And if you're looking at the pictures, he's the blonde one and the yellow suit.
Right. And it's like, that's not an eyesore or anything. And at first you think it's going to go a whole different way, especially with really plain looking casinos, a lot of these tropes. But it kind of goes almost like the Cowboy Bebop route, where there's a guy there that's been winning everything, every slot machine. And of course, they're not happy about that, so there's some suspicion. And then it turns out it's way more than that. They want his card. And as we said, each card has a different power. And there's 52 cards, so there's already there's no way they get all 52 in one season unless they would rush it.
So his card summons a loaded Nambu revolver.
Yeah.
That also can summon extra bullets in his free hand.
Right.
So he's quickly loading, and he never runs out because he summons the bullets when it gets low.
Right.
Into the gun, he summoned.
Right. It's like a lot of summoning in here. And it becomes a really high action film. And this is where a little bit of the violence comes in for a couple of the characters. A lot of their powers do rely on sword fighting or maiming somebody. It does require that, but as we said, it does slow down as it goes on. It doesn't get as grabbing. They even start having things happen off screen, so you're not getting uncomfortable with that being all across the screen.
So now we'll get to Chris Redgrave, and I keep calling him Chris, who looks like Nick, because to me he looks like his name should be Nick, not Chris. Right. I don't know why.
And he ends up being his I guess to say his mentor
right.
in High Card.
The 5 of Hearts.
Right. And his power is high calorie.
And being a womanizer.
Oh gosh. and he has to eat to use the power up. And for that one he can regenerate anything that gets cut off. He can come back to life. It's regenerative type power. So if he eats enough, if something happens to him, he either comes right back or a limb comes right back, and they kind of play with that a lot where they just start
like
doing things to him. Right. They just start doing things to him. It's like, can you stop making him use it all the time?
And he's his mentor at Pinocchle's Old Maid branch.
Yes, it's like, yes, there's a lot of puns like that. There's that in the Who's Who branch. It's like, who came up with this?
So he looks like he's the most popular character right now.
Yeah.
With the fandom, based on nothing in the beginning but how he looked.
Yeah,
and then
that's
based on how the storyline was going in the beginning until it hit, I think, episode 9.
Yes.
And then that changed because of what happened. But we won't spoil it for you.
Right.
So now we'll get to Leo Constantine Pinochle.
Yes.
Who is 14 and wields the 7 of diamonds.
Right. And in that one, it sort of reminds me of Psyche, where he actually exchanged the value of something else. Well, in here, he needs to have literally monies.
It's called Never No Dollars.
Right. And here, literally, he needs monies. And he uses the monies to turn it into literally anything else it's worth. So whatever amount you would purchase something, that's what the money will convert into. Like, it's converted into weapons or food, or heck, there's even a point where it turns into a gold highway and it has like probably $1 billion.
And that's pretty clever when you think about it.
Yes.
Now, I believe that we're going to find out that Leo is actually Finn's brother.
Yes.
Because I remember as soon as we saw him, I said, he looks just like Finn.
Yeah, you kept saying that.
He's an orphan. I'm like, I don't care. I think that's his brother because he looks just like him. And then in the first episode, he is introduced, Leo.
Mm-hmm.
He does something really brotherly to him, and he says the word again, like he knows him or he's seen him before. But according to this episode, this is the first time they meet. So to me, that's a clue. I think this is his younger brother.
Yeah.
And he's forgotten that he existed. Maybe this mind wiping, who knows?
Right.
That's my theory. So if this comes out, remember on this podcast, you heard me say that Leo is his brother.
Yes.
It wasn't after the fact. And he is a member of the Pinochle family. And I think he was adopted. And we're going to find that out too. And he also is the CEO of the company, and he manages the Old Maid office.
Right, like he's in charge of a lot of stuff at 14.
At 14,
he's like Artemis Fowl for Japan.
Maybe that's it. Then we've got Wendy Sato, and she wields the Ace of Spades that summons love and peace, which is hilarious when you tell them about that.
Right, and for this one, it's like literally a double-edged sword. She can use the sword anytime she wants, and it's sort of like a shout out to Kill Bill in a way. But if she uses the card and the sword, it unleashes an alternate personality that people really seem to love, where she's just stabby all the time, really crazy, literally licentious with men, all crazy as heck, complete opposite of who she is.
And I did a mashup video with this and Batman Beyond the music.
Yes.
Making my own intro. You'll see it as a card attached to this video. And she's so crazy, and one of them, I made her the skull her. It's her personality.
Right. And then
she's the daughter of a master swordsman from the Far East.
Yes.
And of course we don't have to tell you which one she is, but we forgot to tell you Nick is the one in the red suit.
Yes.
Crimson suit?
Yes.
Yeah. And of course Wendy is the lone female in the group, so you'll know who she is.
Right.
Then we have Vijay Kumar Singh.
Yes.
And he wields the 3 of clubs and has the power of greenery.
Right. And you think that's money too, but it's not. It's just plant power. He can make vines and things grow from just about anywhere as long as he's on the ground. And he's the one that was really underutilized this season, because 4 out of 5 of them were introduced in here, given a little bit of backstory, and fully fleshed out. Vijay was sort of left out, and
I'm thinking that means his backstory is probably the craziest of all.
Right, because people who became fans of him instantaneously were like, well, he hasn't gotten anything. They thought, oh, this episode he's gonna get it. Oh, this episode he's gonna get it. And then the season is over, and they're like, he didn't get any spotlight. He had appearances, he did some things, but there was no focus episode. So clearly they're saving it for the next season.
Right.
So there's not too much you can say about it unless maybe you've read the manga.
Well, it says he's a highly intelligent PhD student at the University of Cribbage.
What?
And a good cook who manages the systems at Pinocchio's Old Maid office. I'm sorry, I keep laughing every time I say Old Maid office. So hopefully we'll learn a lot more about him next season.
Yeah. And yes, they do confirm there is another season at the end of this season. And what's funny is that a lot of people thought this was going to be just a one and done series, but there was too much lore and background and story in here to just be 12 episodes unless they just plan to rush the ending and never finish. So in here they do tell you at the end of the season, season 2 has been confirmed in production. And because Crunchyroll really didn't want to advertise High Card really at all, outside of some ads and a trailer, that's it. There was nothing else promoting. They were really focused on Blue Lock and Buddy Days, which they were really banking on being the animes of the year or of the month of new releases. And it kind of backfired because High Card ended up surpassing them because they kind of handle their own advertisement. They were at conventions. They cross-promoted with a bunch of different merchandising companies and shops in Japan. They had food. They had jewelry. They had DVDs. They had figures. They had cars, manga, everything. They took care of everything.
They took a page out of the book of Millionaire Detective because all that was available in Japan, not here, of course.
Right.
But they had all of that available for Millionaire Detective as well. So they were smart and followed the same merchandising.
Right.
And it definitely has to pay off.
Yeah. So that kind of worked out. You know, Crunchyroll didn't promote them. They promoted themselves.
So there are other characters. We're not going to talk about them, but I just want you to hear their names.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you'll find in depth just how punny a lot of the characters' names and things are. We have Owen Aldays. Blitz Broadhurst.
Yeah.
Antoine Dyke. Tilt. Bobby Ball. Sugar Piece. Who's the lady female police officer that keeps following around and trying to
apprehend
have justice.
So
right?
think of her as
her name is Sugar Piece, Peace.
Yeah, think of her as like a human version of Foxington from the Bad Guys.
Lindsay Betts. Lucky Lunchman. And I'm gonna stop there.
It's like, what are these names? Oh my gosh! And I'm like, I'm surprised no one's come and say, that's really your name.
But it's really just an excellent anime. Didn't expect it to be. Thought it would be, okay, this is gonna be good, it'll be interesting, but it's really turned out to be much more than I personally ever expected. I'm really glad that you learned about this and piqued my interest with all the information that you were reposting, because I was excited to see it as well, and this anime does not disappoint.
Absolutely.
And if is there a manga for this?
Yes, there are apparently some side story mangas that are like other missions you don't see animated, since they only ordered 12. Those that they didn't make it to animation, they put into side story mangas. Some of them focus on Leo, some on Chris, some on Finn, some on VJ, who acts completely different in the manga. So it's like, if you want a little extra, you have to read it. And right now it's only in Japan, but people are waiting for it to be translated here at some point.
And I would love to hear who they get to dub this anime.
Yes, because we learned there is going to be an English dub. They're just kind of taking a while with it.
So I'm waiting to see if they get VAs who capture, I should say, the essence of each character.
Right. Oh, and one more thing we definitely have to mention that's definitely not spoilery is that they have a really catchy opening that ends up being really fun, even though, you know, it's a mix of comedy, action, and some dark stuff.
You'll see some of the scenes in my mashup.
Right. And then the ending, which caught people off guard, because the episodes will end with something dark happening or a villain face or something, and then all of a sudden it goes to carpool karaoke, and they're just singing along, and it's happy, and at the end they go back to ignoring each other. They're like, why did you do that? It's like they were trying to be, you know what?
JJK's ending.
Yes, Lost in Paradise.
I was going to say Lost in Paradise. Which is my favorite right now of all time.
Yes.
For endings.
Yes, and it looked like they were trying to imitate that, and it's nowhere near as catchy as that, but it is great and fun in its own way, and you kind of just like seeing them all sing together, and you feel like you want to sing along with them.
They did a great job. So I'm going to say cheers.
Yes.
For High Card. Looking forward to season 2. If you have not seen High Card, you are really missing out. It's available right now exclusively on Crunchyroll as far as we know. But you really should give it a watch. Now, if you have seen it, let us know what you think in the comments below. Were you as excited as Rascal was to see it? Did you enjoy it as much as we both did? Are you looking forward to season 2? And last but not least, who's your favorite character?
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it, get your Crunchyroll and watch it before season 2 comes out, and come back and thank us, because you will not be disappointed at all. We even saw some people on Twitter who said they didn't expect much, and they were really surprised by how well done it is,
Right.
and how good it is.
Right.
So that was a really a good sign.
Always, right.
Before they got announced for season 2. So saying that, who's your favorite character right now? Do you have one?
I think right now it would be Finn, for sure. Because they don't write him, they have set up a trope plot line, but it's not done the same way. He's not just going through the motions of what you see a standard anime character go through. There are some unexpected losses in here. Things you didn't think would happen, and they do happen, and they actually have something different with having the character go through a little more struggle, but it's not drawn out, going to depression, or really going too far with it. It's just enough to know that this is a developed character, not just someone for you to follow to see everyone else's story.
Right now, I'm not sure. I like multiple characters right now. I like Finn, I like Leo, and yes, I like Chris, who looks like Nick. So I'm not sure which one is my favorite now. But right now, I like 3. And I'm sure when I learn more about VJ, and I learn more about Sato, that I probably will end up liking them all.
Right.
Quickly, we need to point out and mention that there's an American character that actually comes into about halfway through the series introduced.
Yes, and it's absolutely hilarious because you see some different depictions of Americans in anime, and sometimes it's just like the funniest thing.
Her name is Chelsea Hammond. She's a social media influencer, of course, looking to find her soulmate. And she holds the 2 of diamonds, which gives her the ability of love connection that sticks two people's hands together. And they actually had an entire episode on her ability.
You're right.
When she was first introduced.
Yes, and it's one of the funniest episodes of the series.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to make sure we got that in because definitely it was interesting.
Yes, because this show was funny as heck a lot of times. You're right.
To see an American character get that much attention and it not be seen as something like, oh, this is odd, this is weird, it was just normal. And
it wasn't a villain per se.
Now maybe because it takes place in an imaginary kingdom outside of Japan, that might be it. But it's very clear that she's supposed to be American.
Right. Oh, and if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, weekly videos, your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely.
And go watch High Card!
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you'll end up loving this anime as much as we do. We appreciate your support. And thank you so much for allowing us to share things that bring us joy with you.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.